Normally, I wouldn't post a video on the same ship 2 days in a row, but we're going to make an exception with the legendary tier German battleship Preußen, because for this match, I am running Azerlane Prinz Heinrich. Here's the build. Hopefully, this doesn't get the video demonetized on YouTube with this scandalous imagery. But as you can see, this is definitely not a free-to-play build. Azerlane Heinrich, of course, massively buffs the accuracy on the German battleships, and that seems like a good idea for the Preußen, considering it's already very accurate. Note, though, as we take aim at this Yamato, that I was not using Master Mechanic in the fourth row of skills. Instead, I was using Heinrich's unique skill called Heinrich's Hunch Punch or something like that further improves the accuracy over Master Mechanic. So we still have two heals, just like we would if we were using Franz von Hipper as the commander, like I did yesterday. Now, if I were actually going to run this build with Heinrich, I'd probably use Master Mechanic, and I might get rid of Azerlane Sovietsky Rossiya as one of the inspirations and replace that with Iachino. 12.6 kilometer concealment, though, is good. This battle, I wanted to show you it for two reasons. Number one, because it demonstrates a weakness that I mentioned in yesterday's video but didn't actually show. And secondly, it's pretty amusing on behalf of those two enemy battleships you saw duck behind the corner. Normally, I despise this spawn on this particular map whose name escapes me, because if you spawn on this Charlie flank to the south here, between those two islands, it sort of limits where you can go. You're almost driven to go straight forward into the cap, which in a battleship is not always the best idea, particularly if the enemy ships are going to hang out on the other side of the cap and focus you as you're spotted. You don't have too much room to maneuver or retreat if that becomes necessary, but that sort of calculus all goes out the window when the two enemy battleships that spawn on this flank decide to take themselves behind those chains of islands and outside of the game for pretty much half the game. That's what's going to happen here, and because those two enemy battleships are behind the island and incapable of shooting us, that makes me think we can be a little bit more aggressive here on this cap. And we've got this Iowa sitting in the center of the map, bow tanking whatever else is in the center. It means he's giving broadside to this Charlie cap, so if we can get inside of it, we're going to have access to that broadside. And Iowa, well, it's not exactly got a lot of protection around that citadel. It's very accessible. Yeah, look at that broadside. And the shot is out with Azerlane Prinz Heinrich at the helm, tightening up the dispersion. Still, though, not quite enough to take him out. Maybe if we had gotten two citadels instead of one. As for the moment, he's still floating, which means he's spotting us for the Worcester. Note, we just get lit on fire by the Worcester, and we had 75,000 HP. Keep that in mind as the Iowa's death comes in toward him at the speed of 18-inch shells. There he goes for our first kill of the game, and we're up to 99,000 damage in 4 minutes. Basically 100k in less than 5 minutes. That's what great accuracy will get you on something with 18-inch guns. Speaking of which, Worcester is not fully angled. We can overmatch his side plating if we dial in the aim properly. Instead, we hit his bow. Meanwhile, Petropavlovsk goes down. He was spotting us for the benefit of Worcester, but now he's no longer around and Worcester is blind. We'll take another shot, this time aiming for the center as we notice the Worcester reversing. And the results are marginally better. We do overmatch that side plating, but we still get 2 ricochets off the 32mm stern. Don't know why that's really a thing. That's fine, though. We'll dial it in again, and we will shoot once more. But take a look at my HP bar. You see how we were at 75,000 when this Worcester started firing at us? Well, with these two fires burning, they're going to continue going for the full duration. Our DCP is on cooldown right now, and by the time they burn themselves out, we're going to be left with 35,000 HP. So, that was a loss of 40,000 HP to only the Worcester, only his HE spam and fires. That is why I was inclined, like I was telling you yesterday, to maybe consider Ciliax instead of Hipper as the commander for this ship. Having only 2 heals really does hurt, especially given how much HP HE spam can remove from your ship. That's why you don't push into it. It's also why I build into concealment to make it so that these kind of cruisers can't focus you as easily all the time and you have more leeway in your positioning. In any case, the 2 battleship friends that went around the island over here have decided that now is the time to get back into the match, but it's too little too late. The Charlie cap has been secured by myself and one of my teammates, and the Worcester that they left in the dark over there is sunk and he's back to port. Now that they've come around the corner, Preußen is deciding to go broadside to me, and we're going to get a little brawling action in here. Even though he has turtleback, doesn't matter. Turtleback is not going to save you when you're flat broadside against 18-inch guns. They might not citadel you, but they will still penetrate you and deal a tremendous amount of damage. Meanwhile, Yamato is stuck stationary, bow tanking as they normally do. That's fine. What we're going to try to do is go around him for the drive-by, but of course, in classic fashion, we are going to screw up the drive-by, as I often do. No matter, though, Yamato is really, really under pressure. We get an assist for 1 fist, and Yamato goes down. Enemy team has 5 points left, and that's pretty much it. Normally, I don't like to show you blowouts, but I felt like this match was a little bit entertaining, with the 2 battleships inexplicably taking themselves out of the battle for no reason. Had they been there to support their Worcester, well, you saw how much damage he did to me with just a little bit of HE spam and a little bit of mismanagement, perhaps, of the DCP on my part. I don't know. It was on cooldown when I was lit on fire twice, so might have been mismanagement on my part. In any case, if those 2 battleships had been in a position to take advantage of all the damage the Worcester was doing to me, there's no doubt in my mind I would have sunk. If I were being focused by the Worcester, the Preußen, and the Yamato, no way I could have ever gotten around the flank on that Iowa and gotten that Citadel, and no way the Petropavlovsk would have sunk either, I don't think. Well, maybe he would have, but I don't think the Iowa would have. I'd be going back to port instead. Don't go behind that island chain on this map if you're playing battleships, and especially don't put your battleships right next to each other in the same grid square. That's a great way to nerf their battle impact, honestly. The enemy team has clawed back some points as this game winds down. I don't know if they sunk a friendly cruiser or friendly battleship or whatever, but if even one of them goes down, I think that's going to zero them out, and there are still 6 minutes left to go on the clock. I did want to, put up a video of the Meteor or perhaps Scarlet Thunder or something, but most of the matches that I played yesterday went similar to the way this one did, just boring blowouts, although I think this one was worth watching. So, if you were wondering, does Azerlane Prinz Heinrich work on the Preußen? The answer is yes, although I would probably not use the build I showed you. I'd probably use Master Mechanic instead. I don't think it really needs the extra accuracy from that 4th row skill, and more heals, more tankiness, more survivability. That's probably the better way to go. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.